What is up, world? This is Kimberly and Connor Tracy here at Big Red SEO, coming live from our Exarban location in Omaha, Nebraska. Hey, Connor, how are you?
I'm okay.
You okay? Yeah. So, hey, we wanted to reach out to you guys today. This is episode 51. So, do we want to do the famous high five again? Washa, high five.
We'll save for that.
Yeah, like it's super funny. We know our strengths, and high five's not one of them. We fist bump a lot. But hey, we wanted to reach out to you guys today. We actually picked the theme of influence and inspire. Mainly influence and inspiration looks like what Connor put on the actual image, right? So the thought process is we want to come at you a couple different ways with this. One, we want to kind of chat about how you can actually influence, whether it's your friends and family, the people online, your business and so forth. Yeah, we want to make sure that you kind of like have some kind of idea of where to start with that, right? So people do actually start businesses and they're trying to figure out what direction do we need to do? Where do we need to go? And then we also want to talk about inspire. And this actually came up because I had two coaching clients this week where we were talking and they were like, hey, when somebody wants advice or somebody wants some feedback or somebody wants some mentoring, but it's unpaid and it's in the realm of business because they're following me as a business owner, what is it that I should say and what is it that I should do? And it's kind of ironic because really how we are able to help other people, whether it's business and in life, unless it's a service you're selling, right? So there's a caveat here. It's that you can influence them to do A, B, and C, or recommend A, B, and C, right? Or you actually inspire them by doing it yourself, and therefore they come and they do it for you as well. Makes sense?
Yep.
And so today we wanted to chit chat about kind of like some of the different aspects that we've seen with inspiration and influence. Like, as you guys know, Connor's very tech heavy and he gets into the research and the nuts and bolts of the business, right?
I get lost in it.
You get lost in it, but he also has specific people that he looks up to that influence him in a business on learning in an SEO industry or website design industry. Even in normal life, like you've got multiple channels that you follow for yacht shows and travel shows and train shows.
Yep.
And gaming. Your friend tuned in about gaming last week, right?
Sure.
And then there's also, from my side, there's the creative side of who do I follow, who influences me and so forth, right?
Right.
So Connor, who around or what influences you in the business realm?
Wow.
Just put you on the spot there.
I know. You'd almost think we haven't planned for this video at all. Literally, we have not planned for this video.
Hey, Casey. Thanks for joining.
But, yeah, we have influencers.
We have planned. We have plans.
Yeah, kind of. Who is my inspiration and stuff? I don't know if there's any one person, you know, when it comes to business. I mean, I look at all the different people that are out there. You know, you got Elon Musk, and I know that he's not loved by a lot of people, but he's got a hell of a business idea and a way of doing business.
Yeah.
You know, Jeff Bezos, of course, just because of where he's at. Yeah. And then, of course, you know, your other giants. I mean, Bill Gates and the Apple dude. Yeah. Yeah. Tim Apple, as is now called, the new Apple dude. But no, I mean, in terms of people that I follow, you know, I have a lot of people that I do follow on YouTube or on Facebook. But I honestly don't know their names. Yeah, because you follow them and you're like, you watch this stuff, you get the material. So let me reframe the question a little bit differently. Sure. What needs to be shown or what needs to be present in order for you to be influenced by something? You know, a lot of people would say energy, and that's not even a thing for me. I don't care whether the person is necessarily, you know, happy or boisterous and
the sound's
vocal.
Off a bit.
The sound is off.
Just a bit, yeah.
I understand. I tried to remedy that.
Yeah. Thanks, Casey, for letting us know.
Wi-Fi is crap.
Yeah.
I tried plugging in for a regular hard cable, and it didn't work. So
yeah, today is very. The office is pretty full, so everybody's on Wi-Fi today.
Are we just like a couple seconds off, or is it muffled off?
Yeah, she just said the sound is off the lip movement a bit, but that's okay. So just smile a lot. Cool. Okay, so for you to be influenced by something you see online, recap that one more time.
Sure. For me to be influenced online, it's education.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the big thing for me. Whether it's from a historic end of things or whatnot, I mean, that's a different subject altogether. But they have to have something that I'm interested in to begin with.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a couple that I'm following right now, and it's not business related. It's from that end of things. It's not even business related. It's a channel on YouTube called All the Stations, and it's two people, Jeff and Vicky. And their challenge that they set out in 2017 was to visit all the stations in Great Britain, all the train stations. So there's 2,500 train stations, and they went to every one of them and took a picture, whether from the train or on the platform. They had to stop at each one. Well, they're currently doing all the stations Ireland. So it's 196 stations, and they're getting out at every station taking pictures. So while it's not like a business end of things from an influence or an admiration end of things, what they're trying to accomplish, setting that goal, a lofty goal, and then working their ass off to get to it. They're doing their video editings, and they're doing their it's a video every single day that goes up. So I mean, that's impressive of its own, because I know what that's like.
Right.
So yeah, that would be people that influence me. There's a number of people that are doing environmental stuff, sailing and traveling and bringing different parts of the world. The visual aspect of different parts of the world, that all appeals to me.
Yeah, and some of the stuff that you watch from an influence standpoint, guys, just recap real quick. Some of these channels and some of these videos, the people actually get paid to do them. They actually have followers that like contribute and so forth.
Yep.
I would say for me, for influence, I think the things that catch me, that influence me in either my behavior, my habit, how I run the business, for me, it has to start with a good storytelling. It has to capture me in. Like, it's fascinating whenever I read it. I could just like read through basic stuff, but the stuff that pulls me in, that makes me want to take action myself or take action by contacting somebody, something to that extent, I actually have to feel like I could be part of the character in the service, in the product, in the scenario, in the situation. Makes sense?
Yep.
And it's kind of funny, I would say, especially since I got involved in energy, because before I could kind of read people and I could read things of, oh, is this just the sales pitch, or is this truly what they're passionate about? Stuff like that. And then I actually found like I would be able to pretty much tell when people were just in the process of sales, or if they copied something from someone else, versus if they were truly genuine themselves with it. Like a lot of the people that I follow, I know that they're behind the scenes doing the work. So that also influences me. Like if I want to take action by somebody, I want that person. So if I want to hire somebody for that service, for me, it's very important that that person is actually getting that service performed themselves.
Yes.
Right. So like if I hire a house cleaner, I want to make sure that the people that are cleaning the house also have their houses cleaned. I know that that's like not relevant in all places, people, and things, right? But it is important for me, just like my massage therapist, it's important for me to know that she's also getting a massage, right? So it's like doing the work, but then also getting the work done, right?
Well, I think that also just keeps them on their toes. I mean,
yeah, and it's like that whole like it's the you're giving and you're receiving type of thing, right? But I would think for me, it's storytelling, authenticity, and that word kind of gets used a lot nowadays and splashed everywhere. But just like the being real, it's kind of being raw. But in business, it's kind of finicky because sometimes people, they'll do the raw and they'll do the vulnerable and they'll do the emotional, which could be great. But then there's like a fine line that gets crossed where then all of a sudden people are like, well, they don't have their life together, their basket case, or there's something else going on. And then all of a sudden it's just chaotic and it's no longer inspiring. Right. And you'll see that there's famous people that do that, right? There's other people that do it. And then so for me, I have a lot of people reach out to say, hey, I love what you post on Facebook. You inspire me. You influence me. When you went to California, multiple people said that. Yep. And the cool thing about it is a lot of times I don't know, like they won't tell me directly until they like reach out. Right. But do you remember us sitting out back, and it was like about 3 years ago, I told Conor, I was like, I'm doing this Facebook thing and I feel like I'm just like throwing up on my Facebook page. It's like my diary. Right. Mm-hmm. And we had this chat, and it's really whenever I stepped into living life with intention and started to become more aware and more present and kind of dabbled into that. what did I need to change in me, in our business, for us to be able to influence and inspire people versus it just being kind of a shit show on their page. And then, not to say that that's wrong for specific people, but like there's a specific area that we want to make sure that we tap and we help. Like I get influenced by people that put inspirational stuff, that put positive stuff, that talk about their wins. And even if they have a situation in life and it's a struggle, for them being vulnerable enough to share it, but it doesn't become a pity party victim mode. And again, what I'm talking about, it could dabble in the personal, but it's more dabbling into the business side of things, right?
I think in that particular situation, you know, that was the shift, not only from your end, but it was a pivotal shift within our business. Yeah. You know, the change from just doing whatever and posting whatever on Facebook, and the change into being positive almost about everything. Yeah. And then that directly influenced within the business. You know, when we're looking at the blog posts and stuff like that we've been doing, they've all been from a positive perspective. Nearly every conversation we have with a client, it's more the positive end of things rather than the negative.
And we still are very, I was going to say, we are still very blunt and we're very honest. It's like less negativity, if that makes sense. It's less tearing somebody else down in order to get one up. And it's more in okay, here's where you're at. Here's where you want to go. What could we help to influence you to get from point A to point B, right? So in this whole inspire and influence, guys, we'll take it a couple different ways. You can inspire the people in your home. You can influence the people in your home. I'll go back to a lot of the conversations I have in personal life. They'll be like, hey, I can't get my spouse to do A, B, and C, or I can't get my kid to do A, B, and C. It's really driving me crazy. Yada, 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 et cetera, right? The yada, 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 et cetera. And the thing is a lot of times what they don't realize is they themselves and their human are not doing A, B, and C. They're not being the example. They're not influencing the people in their home. And once you work on you, everything else starts to clean itself out. Mind you, there might be some conversations you need to have, with specific people about behaviors from a neutral standpoint. But then in addition to that, like say that you want to inspire and influence your clients or your future prospects, right? So one thing that I was looking about this morning, whenever I was brainstorming, I was like, you know, how would you actually influence and inspire? One thing that we do is when we write content, we actually write content a lot of the times from the seat of they're already purchasing. They're just wanting to pay with a credit card. Right. Versus give me the sale. I'm desperate for the sale. Give me the sale. Call me. Give me the sale. Right. It's a different type of technique that happens. And I think I actually did a example here. So like for us, an old way that we would do language, and we still dabble this a little bit depending on if people know what SEO is or not. Right. But one was we help business owners get ideal clients. In a nutshell, that's really what we do, right? But if we were to inspire and influence, we would actually switch it to get ideal clients you love working with. Right. Right. So like there's a different shift language and it's influenced and inspired completely different. Right. The other one is like a very basic for anybody. Contact me for a session, right? So like contact me for a session. It's very typical language to use. There's nothing wrong with this, guys, right? But the way to take it another level to inspire and influence is contact me to qualify for my services. Yep. Holy shit. Like what? I have to qualify? What? Am I serious? Am I not serious?
And it's similar to the takeaway sale, but it's not.
Yeah. You know? And the thing is with the qualify for the services though, it gets them to thinking what's the rest of the process in order for me to even get somebody to pick up the phone and call. Sure. Makes sense? Yep. Yeah.
There was a video I was watching yesterday and I liked it and hated it at the exact same time when I was watching it.
Hey Brad, how are you?
But the video was he's actually a professional closer, basically, is what his job is.
Professional closer.
Yeah.
I could be a professional closer. I open and close the refrigerator all the time.
Well, there you go.
Does that count? Hands up if you're a closer. You open and close the refrigerator all the time.
But this guy, I believe his name was Don Locke, DONLOC. He's an Asian guy. But his whole thing yesterday, the video was all about what to do when the client says, I'll call you back or I'll get back to you or whatever. Yeah. And his thing was interesting. It was fun to watch and learn some of the psychology behind it. And at the same time, I'm like, how could you use that in business? You know, honestly, how could you do that? I mean, his things were on the call where he's saying, you know, well, when the person says, you know, how I'll contact you back or I'll call you back tomorrow or whatever, right. Yeah. It's like, well, why can't we talk about it right now?
Right.
It's like, wow, well, that's pretty blunt.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, why can't we just have the conversation right now?
What is the actual problem? What is it that you want to think about? Why aren't we moving forward right now? Where is the problem in this breakdown? And I'll fix it right now. Mm-hmm. And as a salesperson, as a closer, I fully understand what he's doing. As a business person or on the receiving end, as a client, potential client,
yeah,
that's for me is almost past the line. If I tell you I'm going to call you tomorrow, I will actually call you tomorrow. It's normally not a brush off.
Which do you really?
Don't I?
Some days.
Most days I'll tell you, yeah, this is not for me, and we're done.
Yeah, true.
But if I tell you that I'm going to call you, then generally, you know, especially from the sales end, I'll call and say, it's not for me or it is for me. If I'm asking for more time, there's a reason for that. I'm probably evaluating something. Anyways.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so the other part of this whole, I know, right? This other part of like influence and inspire, right, is I think that there is a skill that's required for this. And it all comes down, and I mentioned it before, it all comes down to storytelling. There's like this tango dance that happens between clients and prospects through the process. We even have it ourselves, but it's like sometimes there's businesses that are transactional, right? But you can have the tango dance. I don't know why I'm doing this, but you can have the tango dance on the content in your website. Again, it comes down to writing the content so you're inspiring and you're influencing and that you're talking to them like they're already your client or that you are going to serve them to a point that they're going to grow or they're going to expand or they're going to go to a next level, right? It's quite interesting when we work with people and they're like, hey, I want to do my own content. And then they actually try to go around about it and they can't get it right. It just like for them, it's very uncomfortable for them to be able to go through that. And then so what happens is they wind up coming back and they're like, hey, is there any way you can write our content and do our content? Because it comes from a whole different level. Like it's coming up out, right? And then you're like able to, we tap in really well to the ideal client, right? And through that process, which is super, super cool.
Yeah, I definitely think, you know, that is a pretty good example of where the ball gets dropped from the content end of things, that it is something that clients do kind of brush past or it'll be really good in the beginning and then it kind of falls off.
And what he means by that is being really good at the beginning and falling off is a lot of times people create content and they talk about their skill, their expertise, how they can help, kindness, services, whatever. And then they don't put call me today or what it is that person, that service can actually do for them. So what happens is they read. And of course I read up here because this is where I type, but they read all the information. They're like, okay. And then there's nothing. Sometimes they'll just do a call to action bar, but that confuses the brain too, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is in a website specifically, whether you're talking to prospects, you're talking to clients, you're talking to followers, fans, you have to have clarity from when they walk in, which we're going to be working on a webcast about mind control and website design, right? You got to walk them through your front door of your homepage, and there has to be so much clarity, and clarity comes from telling them what is the next step, right? Because people will get decision fatigue, especially if they don't know what your industry is, but they're feeling a pain or you have the solution and they're just right on the end cusp, right?
Right.
There's a way to step forward and influence and inspire throughout your entire website, but then also as your walking human as well, right? It's kind of one of those things. Hey, Carolina, how are you?
Hey, Carolina. Larry just showed up too.
Hey, Larry. Yeah, so it's like one of those things that you got to like kind of step in and be like, what process do I need to do? What would influence my fans, my followers, my clients, right?
Well, just even with that, so you'd mentioned mind control. So the purpose of this video then, not necessarily the purpose of this video, but you'll want to subscribe to the channel or bookmark it on Facebook for when we do the mind control web design. I think that's next week.
Yeah, it's next week.
There you go. So you'll need to be subscribed and make sure you get alerted on that. So from that, so our action now within the last 5 minutes has been subscribe. That's the guide. That is the holding your hand, getting you to the next step. Same thing on a website. So as I said, a lot of owners will write different pieces of content and then it just kind of falls off then at the end. That needs to be rectified. And the problem that happens, or where a lot of that comes from, is that they're in it. So they're in the business. They wrote the article. Great, I'm done. And on to the next thing. Yeah. But from the outside, from what we do, from the SEO end of things, it's guiding that user to the next step. Yeah. And that's the part that has to happen.
And so here's the thing too, right? So if you were on the phone call with somebody, and some people do this. So if you do this, get it rectified immediately because it just dropped in. Some people do this. But like say somebody calls about your service. They're like, hey, bring, bring. Hey, how are you? I was looking about this service. Bring, bring. Really? My accents are awesome. Hey, you, I'm thinking about this service. I would like some more information, yada, 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 et cetera, et cetera. I might as well pull out all my tricks, right? And then you go on your spiel. I mean, yeah, this is what I do. This is how I go about doing it. This is the process. Oh, that's super cool. Tell me more. Like, I would like more information, da, 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 et cetera, et cetera. And then you're like, yeah, so that's it. Click.
Right.
That's what happens in website design content when there's no call to action. You're not actually asking for the sale, right? And I know like there's different sales techniques and processes. We personally, if somebody says no to us in a sale, we won't pressure them. Like, it's just not the right timing. It's not the right fit. It's not our gig. We might like sprinkle out and contact them a couple times and send them some resources. Hey, how are you doing? Well, but a no for us is typically a strong no.
Right.
Now we will try, it's not even try, we will clarify if there's confusion, right? So if they say no and be like, okay, cool, no problem. Just so we can make sure that you understand our industry. Is there any remaining questions throughout your process? It's cool that you don't select us. We're absolutely okay with that. We just want to ensure that you get into the right hands about our industry. So are there any other remaining questions, right? And what that does is it actually says, hey, you know, at the end of the day, if you don't pick us, that's cool. Like we're not upset by that. But we truly are here for the SEO and website design WordPress industry, right? So we want to make sure that if they get into bed with somebody else, that they have enough education and knowledge to be able to do that. Now, here's the thing, guys, from a business perspective, that influences them to the point where they're going to realize that you're in the industry for the right reasons and you're doing what you're doing for a higher good, if that makes sense. And you know what? If they happen to come back and convert, cool. But if not, it's not sticky. And it's like a genuine, we wish you the best of luck in your journey.
And we really do.
If you have any other questions, feel free to let us know. And we actually had, like, I think it was January timeframe, somebody spun out, and this has been a process we have done, guys, since we launched the business, right? But we had somebody come around in January and they're like, oh, nope, you're too much of an investment. We're like, okay, cool, no big deal. You actually did the email. He was pretty proud of himself. It's the first time he did a positive like / email out like that. And then I...
Not that I'm all like...
No, usually I handle the sales process, but we're working on Conor asking for the sale. He's influencing prospects and clients by asking for the sale, right?
That has been a challenge.
Yeah, and he's done really, really good at it. So he says a challenge. He's actually killing it. But the thing is at the end of the day, what happened was a week later, that person came back and they're actually a client of ours now, right? And it's one of those, we don't wish anybody not to be a client. I mean, take a step back. They need to be our ideal client in order to match and make the stars align, right? But if somebody's going to say no and they're not going to take a next step, it's cool. It's okay, right? That right there influences not only our prospects, our clients, our community, our family and friends. It also inspires because they're like, holy shit, like you're doing really good business-wise. You have 2 successful businesses, yet you're not pressure selling. What's wrong? What are you doing? How are you doing it? What's the process? How do I hire you? Will you teach me? This is the stuff that like trickles in, right? This
the answer on nearly all of those is
where's the marquee blub blub thing, like the Facebook blub blub thing? Yeah, and so like this is honestly how it happens.
There you go. There's the marquee.
But for you to truly inspire, for you to truly influence anybody, especially in your business, business, you have to step forward and do the work yourself, right? You have to become your number one client. Now, there is time management that's required. But here's the other deal. To get started, maybe you actually ask your current clients, hey, what is it about me that made you decide to pick me for a service? Don't be afraid to have that conversation. You got to kind of step into it the right way, if that makes sense. So there's still got to be a confidence. And then you're just like, hey, I want to attract clients that are like you. Do you mind me asking a couple questions? What was the thing about me that made you select me? Right. Yep. So there's a language that has to be utilized, right? So it doesn't feel like it's lack or low self-esteem. And it's more from a marketing standpoint.
Well, one of the things that I wrote down, so from that video that I was watching, and
hopefully that was helpful, guys. I just kind of went on a whole rant. Thank you, coffee massage before the Facebook Live.
You're all happy. So anyway, from the video and from the stuff that we were talking about there, there's a couple of things that I actually wrote down from the video. And one was that I am not a closer.
Oh, you are a closer.
Okay.
In a way.
The number 2 is I do not sell SEO.
No, you don't.
And people don't even buy SEO from me.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. So where I was going with all of this.
I gotta cut cords to this because I'm not sure which way you're going. So go on, tell me where you're going.
So where I was going with all of this was that I provide a service. SEO is that service, not a product.
Oh, okay, got it.
Okay, so I'm not selling SEO. People are buying SEO service, but they're not necessarily buying a product.
I would go further. You are selling the value knowledge that you have on SEO. Therefore, they're hiring you for your processes to apply those tasks. That transforms into SEO in the world of those tasks.
So there will be a video on this coming up. Or a video or a blog article on this.
That was like pretty deep in. I was like, I'm not a closer. I'm like, he is a good closer. He's not giving himself credit for that.
I guess not a closer in the sense of most
What is
sales.
The closer?
So most closers are like a pressure sales. You say no. So it's the line in sales that says no. The first no is not the last one. Or the first no is still a yes.
There's some kind of phrase of no is never no or something like that. Yeah. So I think closer, and I guess this is where Conor and I are a little different, right? I rewrote it in my head of we are closers because we close circles all the time.
Yes. Oh, we definitely close circles.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, why? How are we not a closer? And our close rate for our projects is through the roof. So we are closers. Maybe he just doesn't want to put on himself. Maybe he just doesn't want the pressure.
It's a
but
sales,
you're not the sleazy.
It's not a pressure sales.
Yeah, it's not the sleazy force. I was talking to a coaching client this morning, and we were talking about sales and strategy, and this individual is part of a mastermind group, and there's a couple people that are in there that are just for sale. And it's just, this person's there's just something about, their neck gets tense, and I'm like, you could go and do the sale. I was in corporate world. I did it, right?
Smile and dial.
But the thing is if you keep doing that, you're going to feel the force break, right? And or the quota of you continuing to maintain that, you might actually slip into autopilot. So totally different, video, totally different scenario, because we want to come back to the inspire and influence, right?
Yeah, so here you go. You got about 2 minutes.
Yeah, so here's the deal, guys. What we want to do is we actually want to do a webinar webcast around these 2 subjects. As Conor mentioned, we're actually going to have a video on the YouTube next week about mind control and website design. But for this episode specifically, we want to know what is it that you would like to influence, and what or who is it you would like to inspire?
Want to try that again?
What is the action that you're going to take after watching this video about influence and inspire? Does that make sense?
Yep.
As you guys know, you guys can watch this, but if there's not action after it, or if you don't apply it, you're just watching to see us, which is kind of cool. But we're here to live lives and serve and step forward in a mission standpoint in leaders. So let us know what you're going to do. Good job, Carolina. She's just right out there. You inspire me in my business mission. Aww. So tell us what you're going to inspire. Tell us what you're going to influence, right? And then keep posted. Put the subscribe bleep up there.
Yeah. So you've got the Facebook, Big Red SEO, Twitter, Big Red SEO, and then YouTube, Big Red SEO.
You don't know what to do because you don't have to click on it.
I know, it's great,
like,
isn't it?
Does it yourself.
I don't have to worry about it.
It is delayed though because of the internet though. Yeah,
yes, the internet is definitely.
It's like we get to watch ourselves while we present to people, right? It's like four people, 4 Kim and Connors are all right here. But yeah, in the meantime, have a great weekend, guys. Next week we'll have more marketing updates. We also will have a theme. If you have questions specifically, feel free to reach out. Right, we're here for you. But in the meantime, enjoy your Friday as well as your weekend. We'll catch you next time.
All right, guys.
All right. See ya.
Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye now.